An exciting conversation today about elevating the home buyer experience by leveraging key partnerships. We're proud to represent this group. We got a huge group today. Gonna have a lot of cool questions to ask, and we'll also have some time left over at the end to ask questions. So stick around, and then afterwards, I believe we have a happy hour kicking off, so it should get even more exciting. All right, so I want to quick do an introduction of our speakers. We have Jill Helwig, a national purchasing manager at DR Horton. You have Joe Strada, owner and executive director of Strada Services. We have Adam Green, senior director of corporate and strategic sales at Alarm.com. We have Paul Willis, director of purchasing and estimating at Stone Martin Builders. We have Lance Kurtz, national director of business development at Safe Haven. And Derek Richardson, founder and CEO at Deako. So this first question is an important one. We've kind of curated this audience here because partnerships are a key measure of success in this industry. So in a competitive market, how can strong partnerships between builders, vendors like those represented on this panel today, and trades elevate their home buyer experience and drive customer satisfaction? Joe, why don't you kick us off there?
Absolutely. So I think in any market, the relationships are key. So it helps us drive what we put in our homes, make sure that we got the right product that's going to make our home buyers have a pleasant home buying experience and closing process. So for smart homes, if we didn't get with each one of these people and make sure that we were getting the right products in the home, we would have fell on our face. We made sure through talking it through over and over with you guys that we had the right product, and actually led us to putting it in the standard for all of our homes. So without that, we would not have been able to do it.
Yeah, Joe wrote to add there.
Really good. Great job. I think it's one thing we have to understand is the home buyer is expecting this type of product and this type of home in the customer experience. So they're already expecting it. And I think it's really important for like the group here to be totally lockstep in understanding we're all in agreement that this is the way we need to move forward. So you could have a home builder wanting to take the next step and move forward with this product and the type of customer experience, but if you don't have the support team behind it that agrees and is in embracing this, then it's broke. So I agree with what you were saying. Everybody from the start, the homeowner already expects this, builder, installer, etc., all the way through. We have to really embrace this and partner up properly to give the customer the proper experience.
Yeah, and actually, you're going to see a number of different builders and trades here, but we each kind of represent a different phase of that build journey and that homeowner journey. And what I was really excited about is kind of how we each have a step in that. And Adam, you kind of come in a different part of that. Why don't you kind of describe your perspective here?
Yeah, so I mean, we're on the software side, and we operate our platform through trade partners, right? But as I see builders launching a smart home platform, the ones that do it well are the ones where communication is essential throughout the whole builder organization and all their trade partners. Because if it's not in complete lockstep, the value is going to get dropped in the process. So, as an example, the model home agents talking to the home buyers, they need to be explaining to the home buyer through the journey that you're going to get a call from our trade partner. They're going to walk you through, educate you on all the available technology, going to set up everything for you. That sort of warm up in the process is so critical to the customer's expectations on the next step forward. So if it's not working, the customer is going to get a cold call from an integrator, and it's not going to be an optimal customer experience. And then the other thing I'd add is having the right trade partner. And having, if we're talking about a smart home program doing a white glove service, having a trade partner that is invested in actually talking to the customers about additional revenue operating, new revenue operating services. So having the right trade partner that's going to be putting in the technology, make sure all the incentives are aligned is critical to any sort of partnership.
Yeah, thank you. Paul, ground us a little bit here. We're going to be hearing from vendors, and we're going to be hearing from builders. And one of our goals here was to have a balanced perspective. So just do us a little bit of grounding here, Paul.
I'll try my best here, but I tell you, it's the trade partners that are the linchpin of it all. They're going to help you from when you're just sitting there trying to figure out what you're trying to do, your strategy, all the way to the finished product, everything in between. They are essential in it all. They really are. I know when we were going through this, it was important for us to really come up with a vision on what we were trying to accomplish. And for us, it was really changing the relationship the home buyer has with their home.
And we did that through a number of products that we have now, but none of that would be possible if it wasn't for our trade partners, from education to installation, all the way across the board. If you don't have those guys bought in on that vision and are with you in that home, improving that home buyer experience, like it said before, it's just not going to work. It's dead in the water without a doubt.
So it's important that you look at it in that and seeing what the customer really wants, is providing that experience for them and making scenes. Because there's one thing about technology, it makes your life easier, but it sure is an easy one to get it all turned on. So if you don't have the right trade partners there to get that done in a seamless way, you don't have a chance on it.
So we come in last, but I would say that
There's a lot of work to be done first. The corporate initiative from a builder to do a
our home program is great, but to get out there in the field and educate everybody on what is going to happen and the customer expectation and all that comes with it creates a lot of value in the program, and the builders all get to feel, really, really confident selling homes and moving homes. So I think a lot of the work, even though we come in last and put in great things that you guys do for us, there's a lot of education. There's a lot of constant, ground level education that has to go out there to make sure this thing has the bang for the buck.
And I just add one piece, I'm with Deako here. Not everybody's taking advantage of telling about the companies that they're with and exactly what they do. We'll get you on the next round, okay? But I would say when you're deploying something like a smart home platform, you really have to deal with the corner cases, the issues that are going to come up every once in a while, right? And that's where the partnerships and the collaboration between the different trades, it's years of experience working together. It's hundreds of thousands of homes, hundreds of thousands of homeowners, because we all know that there's going to be some type of challenge that's going to come up throughout the selling process, buying process, fluctuating prices and costs of goods and everything that's happening. But when you've got a team that is working together and has worked together for a long period of time, like we already have these back communication channels, for Jill at DR Horton and for Paul at Stone Martin, it's like we talk so much behind the scenes between Deako and Safe Haven and Alarm.com and Strada Electric. Like we probably talk 3 times, 4 times more amongst ourselves than we are even with our builder partners, because we're trying to solve these problems behind the scenes so that we can just make and sell homes faster and more affordable for everybody.
Yeah, I think that's excellent. I mean, one of the key themes here is defining your promise. Define what you're going to be delivering to your home buyer and get everybody in your partnerships surrounded around that goal so that they can deliver it. And they don't have to have a conversation with the builder for every single thing that comes up. It's just chart that out and things will be a lot more clear. All right, so the next question here is, how can builders strategically leverage smart home technologies to not only meet buyer expectations, but also create new revenue streams and enhance profitability? Paul, we're going to start with you on that. Someone pass my mic.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think you said it just a second ago, defining that promise. Really, you need to define your strategy, what you're trying to accomplish in all of this, because you can get lost in the weeds with everything that's coming out there. So make sure you have a strategy, what you want to do, what you want to put in your home, why you want to do it. That way you know where you're going. And your trade partners will help you figure that out along the way. And making sure it's seamless too. That's important. From there, it was important for us to also evaluate what we wanted to offer. A lot of this smart home technology still relatively new, so home buyers don't necessarily know what they want until they see it, right? So at Stone Martin, we took a different approach and made switches standard. Deako, for instance, standard in their home instead of having it as an upgrade. So we have 25 switches in our home standard. Seems like a lot, but at the same time, we wanted them to see that value, so then they really interact with it. They appreciate it. And then they want to get more switches after the fact. I think that's important to establish. So establishing your standard, what you want to offer, what your smart home package is going to be, and then have different levels, version 1.0, version 2.0, 3.0. We have future plans on what we want to do, but you don't want to do it all at once, right? So have those stages in what you're trying to accomplish. So the second part of that is also just looking at the revenue streams that you can with upgrades. That was pre-contract or contract at contract. And then also at post-close. We've got the upgrade packages established. We were good there. Deako and some others really helped us gather that along the way, which was important. Now we're going to focus on the post-close. How do our home buyers who are going to want more switches, how do we capitalize on that? We've already shown them what they want. They want a little bit more. How do we capitalize on that and prevent them from going to like an Amazon to get that? Why don't they come to Stone Martin for some creative pricing, for some competitive pricing, and also convenience? And it goes to the Stone Martin website. So that's the next phase in what we're trying to accomplish there. And also just establishing the rebates and incentives. That's important too, because we did add 25 switches in there, but with our partnerships and the conversations that we have, we were able to make it make dollars and cents for us. So it wouldn't just immediately go out there to the home pricing. So, and that's the testament to our trade partners for sure. So,
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Adam, I know that Alarm.com does a ton of research out there and figuring out what consumer trends are current, what's changing. Help us understand kind of what expectations are out there in the market, but you guys also provide a lot of opportunities for additional revenue streams or creative pricing models. Kind of tell us what's available.
Yeah, I mean, for customer expectations, there was a study that just came out recently. It was Zillow, a new construction study. They just surveyed a ton of prospective buyers, and smart home capabilities was listed as highly important with 70% of prospective buyers. That was 33% 2 years ago. So it is a massive shift. And so when people say smart home capabilities, what are those actual products that they're asking for? Smart lighting is consistently at the top of the list as a expectation for what they view as a smart home. And then, of course, I mean, everyone kind of knows what these products are, right? Lights, locks, thermostats, garage doors, and then security cameras, home security systems, still very highly desirable facets. But when builder partners are looking at, okay, I need to meet customer expectations. So like Paul did, do a standard offering inside my home. The biggest competition to home builders, of course, is the resale market. And it's a lot more difficult for them to outfit those homes with smart home devices. So the standard, as you're balancing affordability, should be focused on the products that you can put in affordably. That is a big differentiator from an installation perspective compared to the resale market. So lighting is very difficult for a consumer in an existing home to install smart lighting devices, right? Connected locks, connected thermostats. It's a little bit more challenging from the install perspective. So think about that core offering, and I would ignore the products that, are very easy for customers to install, like a voice assistant device or a plug-in lamp module. I mean, those devices don't add additional value from just a compared to a resale customer. So I wouldn't consider those devices in the standard. And then in terms of driving revenue, of course, the way our model works is, offering a smart home platform for builders and then allowing our trade partners to go out and upsell additional services like security. There are a lot of valuable rebates that are available from our trade partners as they get the opportunity to sell monitoring. There's a lot of rebates available from manufacturers as they standardize on those specific products. But then if you're thinking about back to customers' expectations, what are they asking for? I mean, customers are asking for video. They want outdoor videos in their cameras to protect their new home. And what customer that has a garage door wouldn't want a floodlight camera to be looking down over their vehicle? So I think there's a big opportunity to have upgrade packages, options within the builder's price of the home to roll in video packages. That's an additional product category that customers are asking for that can add builder margin on top of it. So that's another huge revenue opportunity for home builders.
Yeah, thanks. And Lance, I know that Safe Haven offers a lot of similar options out there for creating additional revenue or deferring cost or making it easier for a builder. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think, you know, I think the biggest win, first of all, just to back up, is the salesperson in the model being able to sell the home for the price that they need to sell it for. I mean, first and foremost, the home has to get sold, and I think this does create a lot of extra value when somebody's going up against something that's resale or something that's maybe not as put together. It's one of those line items that, you know, you're going to win the category. Stone Martin's going to win the category. D.R. Horton's going to win the category against a lot of these other builders just because it's there. And then just because that experience of, you know, that final stage of construction, when we get in there and everything works well and that person goes, wow, this is really cool. And they tell 10 people and one of those people buys in that neighborhood too, the builder wins and they get the price that they're asking for. I think that's kind of numero uno. But yeah, no, we get out to the home, Nathan, and people, you start talking about this stuff and people want it. You know, they'll you know, like the floodlight camera, they're like, give me that camera. I want to see this. I want to see that. What else can I do? Can I add more lights? Can I do this? Can I do that? The conversation goes into a lifestyle. And I think the more that we get into this and the more that we drive the market in the direction, because we're the leaders, we drive the market in the direction we want to go in, the more this stuff starts to really help people. And I think, you know, over time, people are going to want to know exactly what's going on with everything to make all their decisions. And a lot of these things are in place already for the future. So,
Yeah, thanks.
Can I add something real quick? Go for it. Lance said over here. That has been a differentiator from us, just speaking personally. I've had several agents come and tell me that, all things considered, houses being equal, a home buyer has come to us because of what we've already offered in the house turnkey pool from the get-go. So that's been a differentiator and successful for us in selling more homes. So
That's great. Derek, you want to add anything here?
No, I think really the biggest thing is that we as partners together it's not always just about generating new revenue streams, but is when there's fluctuations in the market around costs and availability of product, that these partners tend to work very well together to say, what can we do now to help sell homes? You know, all of us, whether we're a builder or a contractor in some way, shape, or form, or a manufacturer, at the end of the day, we're only successful if people ultimately are buying these homes, and we have to make them as cost-effective, affordable, keep prices stable, even when we've got inflation that's happening, risk over tariffs and other things. Like, I think that's where what I've seen a lot of these companies do together is to say, hey, we need to come up with something new, can we push cost around? Can we do things where we can still deliver the same quality of product, but at a lower cost so that it can still appeal to a broader audience? And that's where having, you know, somebody that's coming to your home to install and set up your system, you can now push things around through time. You know, maybe you're not buying it all up front. Maybe it can come later, right? Joe?
Derek, I was just going to say, I agree with you. And if, as a home builder, if you're not in this space, you're already missing out. Now, just look at D.R. Horton and Stone Martin, and there's other builders that are already playing in the space at different levels. That you got to be in the space to be able to add all of the items, depending on your process. You could do it through the builder portal and sell options. You could do it however you're going to do it. If you're not starting and already in the space, you're missing out. And I think the homeowners are expecting it. And home builders, I think you have to be there and already start somehow at certain levels. That's all.
Yeah, that's great. Now, Paul starts off by talking about picking a strategy and defining one that works for you as a builder. Jill, you kind of represent a different builder on the spectrum. It's like, how did you pick that strategy, and how do you work, and how does D.R. Horton work in all of this?
So for us, affordability is number one. It's what we think about every day. So we had to make sure that we had the most extensive package we could, but also get the homeowner in the house and get them closed. And then after that, we hand it off to Safe Haven, and they're the ones that can add all the bells and whistles that they want above and beyond what we offer as our standard package. But if we option it up too much to begin with, we're going to miss the boat on the closing. So
Yeah, that's great. And just like really emphasizing, like, pick the strategy that works for you, that works for your market. you can see a spectrum of options, that those that are choosing to go all in the beginning, and those that are keeping it light, depending on what their brand is and what their focus is. All right, so that doesn't really make it easier, right? Pick a strategy. That's a great piece of advice. But how do we actually get started here? So, with as many smart home options that are available right now, creating a cohesive and user friendly experience can be really challenging. How do you get started? Derek, why don't you start us with this one?
Yeah, I think now in this day and age, from the market surveys and just listen to your customers, there is a expectation that you have a lock, a thermostat, a doorbell, lights, and a security system. Like those five things are kind of minimal table stakes. And really what you're looking at to get started is, how do I deliver that as a simple experience, right? And we've seen so much that this can become very affordable through like the alarm.com platform, where because a certain percentage of clients are going to be signing up for the security service, that you can really subsidize the cost up front for your smart home system, right? Not everybody really realizes the importance of the security contract in the bigger picture of things, and that can drive down the upfront costs of this. And it's only possible because you have companies like Safe Haven that are able to talk to the client before they move in, describe to them what options that they have. While they're going in and doing that white glove service, they can also answer any kind of questions. And you see a huge uplift even there, for where people are like, I didn't really understand it when it was sent to me on an email or when I was meeting with the agent. Like, they introduced the concept to me, but it was really driven home when I was able to talk face to face with somebody in my home to go and explain that. And so I would almost always, I'm obviously not a builder. I run a light switch company, but I'm personally building a home myself now, and I'm looking at it going, okay, these are the things that I have to have into the home, and knowing that not just for my own personal home, but I'm going to sell this someday. The infrastructure has got to be there in that home, and if you don't do it when it's built, it's really expensive to do it after.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, Adam, go ahead.
Yeah, I've seen everyone's looking at this category, right? How do we appeal to a new home buyer? We need smart home technology. And so I've seen a lot of home builders go out and we're going to buy a smart connected garage door opener, a smart connected door lock, a smart connected thermostat. But later on, they find out that their customers aren't activating these devices. So they're investing in the technology, but because the customers, it was left up to their own devices for the customer, the home buyer, to add the devices themselves. They were busy, they didn't get around to it, whatever. And so builders are looking to use smart home as a selling point, but then also to help drive high customer satisfaction, have it be resulted in their surveys, drive additional referrals. So if customers aren't activating the devices, it's not going to have the same impact into positive experience, which would benefit the survey results, et cetera. So, I think this question was kind of perfect for alarm.com, but that's in order to have the right strategy, it's about choosing a platform, and a platform to make sure that someone is actually going in and responsible for tying in all the devices together, because it has to be easy. And so when you have a trade partner going in, I'm going to bring in and integrate all these devices into one. I'm going to educate the home buyer how to use it, hands them a single app and says, hey, all your devices tie right into this platform, and they integrate, they talk to each other. You have rules, smart home automation, and it's a easy home buyer experience. That's what drives customer satisfaction. And I think also once you decide on, a platform, it's making sure that you're choosing the right platform, so that you're choosing something that is applicable to all home buyers. There are smart home platforms out there today that are device agnostic or specific, that prevent a lot of home buyers that might not be using those devices to leverage the smart home technology. So making sure it's universal across the board, so that all of these home buyers will be able to control the devices.
Yeah, excellent. Let's get the perspective of a builder. Paul, I want to start with you here. So again, like, how did you go about that? You figured out your strategy. How did you begin curating the products and the services that you would put into that?
Yeah, that's leaning a lot on the expertise like Adam over here and Lance as an integrator to really understanding what makes sense. You really have to look at that and establish what you want to put in there because if it's not practical, it's not seamless, and it's not cohesive and integrated, almost use the word intentional. I think intentional is probably one of the better words to use here. It has to be intentional, and we want to be intentional for our home buyers. So, what that means is creating that seamless experience through the products, through the services that you're offering over here, and the platform that you're going off of. Your trade partners are going to be important in that in buyer education because if they don't know what they have and they don't know how to use it, they're not going to, and they're not going to like it. And then they're going to complain about it. And we don't want that to happen. We didn't want that to happen at Stone Martin. So our integrator was important, the products that we put in there, and also evaluating the process of from start to finish and understanding our go-to-market strategy on it and defining that before we go out there and just go for it. You have to have a plan and being, here's that word again, intentional about it.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Let's pass the mic over here to Jill. And this is the same question. How did you actually pick the products and services that went in and aligned with your strategy?
It was working with all you guys. It was the conversations of what is the best bang for our buck, what gets the most homeowners what they want, who are our homeowners, and what makes it work for everybody in our organization. And then it took from our top down, making sure that it was implemented correctly throughout. And then with Safe Haven, what they've done for us is they made sure that after close, we don't hear any complaints. So they take care of the homeowners and make sure that everything is working seamless in those homes.
Yes.
And Jill brought up a good point that I didn't even mention, that it's important to evaluate also what kind of impact it's going to have on your builders, right? You don't want it to be a headache for your supers or your PMs out there. You want it to be seamless too. That goes from the construction side, but also the warranty side as well. You got to look at the whole process as a whole. And Jill brought up a good point in evaluating that. So,
Yeah, this is a great way. We're like identifying the pain points on the journey and kind of how to pick the different players to help solve those problems. Joe, what would you like to add here?
Well, I mean, I just think it's important. For instance, do have Horton or Stone Martin, a couple of boulders here, that if they're choosing a vendor and a installing contractor that isn't bought into this, but they're leveraging and making them do it, there's a big difference between having, you guys have leverage and you can make somebody do something, but if they want to and they're forefront and they're thinking the way a consumer would want to have their home, I think that's important for partnership. And I also think that, for all the builders here, think about it as from your customer's point of view. A customer is going to go into a competitor's model and look at the model and see what you offer. And then they're going to go in your model that has some smart technology. Or do you want to be the opposite, where they're going into your competitor that has smart technology and you're not offering that at all? So keep that in mind as homeowners are visiting sites and looking at options within a home, and you're either there or you're not there yet, but just know that's what a homeowner's thinking.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw in a curveball question here because I think we have a little bit of extra time. We talked about the product strategy, the services strategy, but we're gonna take a look through the lens of the homeowner right now. Like, what problems are we solving for them? What experiences are we delivering? And we're not delivering the doorbell experience. We're not delivering the light switch experience. We're thinking about tying these technologies together to solve a problem. We're gonna talk about what we think the most important experiences for the homeowners are to have. I'm gonna hand it to Lance first because I think that you can think of some of these that you're tying together with these platforms. Where do you think the most compelling homeowner experiences that smart home technology enables?
Well, I maybe this isn't a good answer, but it's the whole thing. Like it's the whole entire thing. I think a lot of times what we see through, 500,000 installs with D.R. Horton over however many years is that they didn't know all that it could do until they saw it, right? It's kind of, I've been doing this for so long, 25 years. It's kind of like when I sat in people's living rooms and said, do you want a DVR to record your shows? And people were like, no, I watch my show at 8 o'clock on Saturdays. Like that's non-existent today, so showing these people that, there's geofencing, and just by pulling up in the driveway, you can have this happen, that happen, this happen, all to their liking. A light switch goes off, to plug a light switch, but they get it now, and they're like, what else can it do? What else can it do? And sometimes those homeowner meetings are, could be an hour and a half, because this stuff, maybe cover your ears, Jill, isn't all that hard to do, because we have good products and good software, but it's what can this do to enhance my life, to make it better? I mean, I use, my wife with 3 kids at home and me traveling, she comes home, pulls up in the driveway, and all these things are happening for her without anything really happening for her. And she loves that. And if she wasn't able to do some of those things, we'd be really going backwards. So, and she shares that experience all the time with people. So, I mean, it's some of that. And some of this stuff is word of mouth and referrals and whatnot.
Yeah, I like to add a little bit in that I think the most compelling use cases for home buyers are the ones centered around safety and security. This is the most expensive purchase that anyone's ever going to make in their lives, is their home. And they want to feel safe and secure, right? I'm a father. I've got 3 daughters. I want to make sure every night when they come home, the lights are on and they feel safe. I want to make sure that they can get in that house easily. They don't, oh, I forgot my key or whatever. No, I have a keypad that I can quickly type in my unique code. As a parent, I want to know that my 10-year-old daughter walked home from school, and when she keys in that key code, I can get a message, or I can look in an app and see, yes, she got home at that time, right? And so, like, most of the things that are compelling to homeowners are the things that really protect their investment, that makes their family feel safe. Like, people are going to decide to buy one home over another, or buy that, more, your home will be more appealing when you can communicate a message that not just your home, but the entire neighborhood is safe, right? And that's what I think a lot of these systems and these solutions are doing.
I just wanted to add one thing to that. Everybody's here at the convention. You're not at home. What's happening at your home? Do you know what's happening at your home? Is it secure? Is it safe? Are the lights on? Could you see, your camera? Did the doorbell ring? Check your garage door. Did you close it down? You don't know. They're not at home. But man, it would really be nice to pick this up right now and know everything about your home. And that's basically what we're all saying. That's where it's at today.
Yeah, Paul, do you want to add something?
Absolutely. I think y'all said it best. I mean, we're looking at to protect the investment, the biggest investment for many, and you can do that. There's so many different ways, and not just the security, keeping your family safe and your home safe and your valuables safe, but also from the water management and water security. That's a whole nother level. Electrical. I mean, all those things, power management are on the table. We're out Stone Martin. We're looking at it from a perspective to change the relationship a home buyer has with their home. And that's what we want to do. And with today's technology and our partners and what they're coming out with, that's possible like it's never been before.
Yeah, thank you. Jill, you want to add anything here?
I don't think there's anything left, really. I know it helps with my OCD to make sure the garage door's down. So it's just the basic little things that you start depending on your technology and helping you manage your home.
Yeah, I think that's so important. We often look first at a convention like this at all these products, and we forget to ask the question of, like, what problem does it solve? How is this going to make my life easier? And that's something that just we as an industry, frankly, have to get better at practicing. But that's what makes it applicable and digestible to everybody in the house, not just the tech forward husband, but the spouse, the kids, everybody like that. All right, so this last question, this is the last question we're going to have before we'll do a little bit of Q&A. And then again, a reminder, after the Q&A, we're hosting a happy hour here at the booth. So looking ahead at 2025 and beyond, what key trends do you predict will shape the home buying experience? And we're going to stretch beyond just the category of smart home here. Feel free to talk about the smart home, but also look beyond that. There's a lot of cool products, a lot of cool solutions here at the store, at the show. What should people go see? What should be people be thinking about?
Want me to take that one? Yeah. Okay, so a couple things. My company, Strada Services, we do air conditioning, electric, plumbing, security, home automation. We're across 11 or 12 states. So what I think is really important is what customers first don't know what they don't know. Walk around the booth here. You see some really good state of the art, next level type of products. There's wire right there that's totally different than wire we used to install before. Thermostats. Everybody wants a doorbell with a camera on it, but there's so much more that goes into homes than that. You're able to turn your water off to your home if you're away. You could do so many different things and so many innovative products that are there. And I just think homeowners are really expecting builders to offer that, either standardize it or opt it to them. And again, just walk around this place. There's some really cool, innovative stuff here.
Yeah, super cool. Do you want to, Jill?
Sure. So I know from D.R. Horton's perspective, it's all about affordability. We're facing a lot of different crunches in the industry, and it's all about making sure we're getting the most for our buck and that we don't overprice or outprice us out of a market. So staying affordable is going to be key for 2025.
Adam,
I think if we think about a younger home buyer, first time home buyer today, it's just thinking about their buying strategies today versus some of your previous customers before. Today, the access to information is, enormous. And so I guarantee any new home buyer that's decided to walk into a model for the first time has already looked online for, countless, 10, 20 other builders in that area. They're shopping, they expect pricing to be visible. They're going to be doing all their due diligence to narrow down before they decide to walk into a model for the first time. And so I think that, younger people, frankly, just want to go as far along in the buying process without talking to someone as possible until they have to talk to someone. And so I think that what I'm seeing a lot now is home builders starting to adopt new technologies with self-guided tours and unattended showings so that, you can allow a prospective buyer to see a property again without talking to anyone. And that's going to drive more foot traffic. And I think that trend is just going to keep continue because millennials are scared,
I think that's a great point. I mean, and on top of that, the pandemic really changed the way that people expect to shop, the way that people show up. The expectations on remote technology and access are wildly different. And there's a lot of cool tech here that enables access to homes remotely so that you can sell homes that way.
Yeah, so I already named two in the last question. We're going to look at water security and management. That's one area we're going to focus on, and also power management as well. What I also want to look at and talk about is that we're not just focused on the technology aspect as well. I think a smart home, you've got to look at it from some different perspectives. How can you make homes more efficient, right? And so at Stone Martin, what we did this past year was go to Energy Star. So we're now officially all our homes Energy Star rated, which is fantastic, which sets us up for any future 3.2 changes, DOE changes, anything like that. So we feel like we're in a good spot, but we're also providing that that value to our homeowners because their utility costs are going to be a lot lower. With that also becomes a satisfaction that, hey, this is a great home and it's a differentiator too. Because it's of the quality standards that the government has set out, Energy Star has set out, all these entities have said is good. So that was important for us to do as well. And I had one more, but my brain escapes me, so I'm going to pass the mic until I think of it. Okay.
No, I think in our experience talking to homeowners after they move in, right? The initial reason why they buy is a lot based on payment. It's a lot based on affordability, but people are smarter today than they were. I mean, I struggled to do my son's kindergarten homework. Sometimes I'm like, wow, they're teaching these kids a lot. But they're looking at not just what is my monthly payment on the home, they're looking at the cost of home ownership too. So I think what's next, what's on the horizon is things that, you kind of said is, what is it going to cost me to heat and cool this house? What is it going to cost me to, water wise? What is it going to cost me for all my utilities? And the more technology, the more information that's out there and readily available, the better decisions people make. And I think that's the future.
Yeah, I want to build on that a little bit in that we're all seeing that information is key to making good decisions. right? As I'm starting to plan out building a home right now myself, I'm sitting there thinking, like, oh, I just got a text. I live in Seattle. I just got a text from the Seattle utility saying I had a $500 water bill for the last 2 months, right? And the first thing that runs through my head is, okay, where's all that? Who's using all that water? All right. And how do I know, they've got a pricing model where, for the first however many gallons, it costs this, and then the next set of gallons, it costs this. And I'm like, man, if I had only known that for the last couple of days, I might not have done like 8 loads of laundry at the end of the month, kind of a thing. Right. So I think getting information on your home and where it's costing you money is going to be really important. But there's a new emerging interface to being able to digest that information. We're now starting to be able to talk in a natural language through AI tools. It's not here yet today in the home building community, but over the next, I would say 3 to 5 years, you're going to see how AI is going to not just like in the smart home, but in every aspect of home building, whether it's project management, planning, site management. I was talking to another founder of a company earlier today who's got an AI assistant that's you can start asking it questions about how the home building process is going, and like, were my trades on site today? When did they leave? Like, there's a lot that's going to be coming over the next few years, and the key is that it has to be really affordable, really usable at scale. So there's going to be some really exciting developments that go into every single segment of business. But I think there's ripe for disruption around AI in home building. It's just probably going to take 5 to 10 years for it to really mature before anyone's going to really jump on it.
I remember what I was going to say. Yeah, go for it. Also, convenience is one we want to look at too. And one practical way that we want to evaluate is internet ready homes. Just think about the ability to move into your home that same day, click a QR code on your modem, and then have your internet just right there, right then, by putting in a credit card, right? To us, that really improves that home buyer experience. And those are some practical things that you can do right now. Yes, AI, I'm telling you, that's where it's at. We're dabbling in some of that as well, as far as that chatbot assistance. But there's a lot going out there. But I think there's some practical things right now that you can add to the home through strategic partnerships like we've talked about. So
Yeah, I think it's super clear to watch how expectations shift. Smart home started with answering the question, is the home connected? That was the first layer of the smart home. And then it went to, is my home connected and is my home secure? And then it's going to be, is my home connected? Is the home secure? Is it comfortable? And is it going to be comfortable, and is it going to be energy efficient? So that continuum is going to continue to expand on these smart homes. So to me, I'm excited for all these technologies that are going to come under that umbrella. Anybody else want to add anything else? Otherwise, we're going to open it up to questions. Any questions from the audience? Oh. Blank stares. Any ringers out there going to ask softball questions?
We need to be having somebody running, handing out a mic, just jam it in somebody's head. Please.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, hey, thanks so much for joining us, everybody. I also want to invite everybody back tomorrow. At the same time, we have a panel discussion on sustainability in building. Well, enjoy happy hour. It's going to start here in 15 minutes. Thanks so much for coming.
Yeah, and feel free to come ask any of us any questions.